Hey guys, so my name is Kriti. I'm going to be telling you about how to plan a trip in the most personalized and the most optimum way possible. So we're going to start off with it right away. When I'm talking about fundamentals of a travel plan, let's just take into consideration the fundamentals of life. When I'm talking about life, you know that for sure, first thing first, food is important, second thing is clothing, and the third thing is home. Similarly, when you're thinking about travel, the basics of being a travel influencer, you should know the following. First thing, you need to understand the concept of travel planning. If you have the concepts of travel planning safe, you know for sure that you can plan for any country possible. Then you need to have the knowledge. Now, the videos that we shared and the learning modules that we shared would cover this part. And since you've been to Thailand already, you know quite a bit about the place. Now, the knowledge is covered. The third thing is you need to understand the traveler. You need to talk to him, ask him what he wants, and just be empathetic about it. Uh, you know, just show some empathy, place yourself in the shoes of the traveler, and then sort of plan the trip. At the end of the day, you're chatting with him, so communication is very, very important. So these are the fundamentals for you to become a travel influencer. Now, moving forward, we'll talk about the concept of travel planning. These are the basic things that you need to consider when you're making a plan. First thing first, time. So, when I'm thinking about time, I'm talking about the best time to visit a particular place. For example, the southeastern islands of Koh Phangan, Koh Samui, and Koh Tao are best visited between May to October. So, when I'm thinking about time, I'm considering the weather, I'm considering the number of days I want to spend, the time, the kind of things I want to do. Depending on that, I decide the time. Then the second thing comes in is budget, which is very important. I don't even need to stress how important that is. It decides all the major decisions that you'll be making for the traveler. Third thing is travel. How are you going to go about from one place to the other? Fourth thing is interest. Now, interest is very, very important. It sort of sets the tone for a trip. The last thing is comfort. The traveler needs to be comfortable with what he's doing. So when you consider all of these factors, you have the perfect travel plan, as I call it, PTP. Cool. So we're going to be talking about the fundamental elements of a plan. Now, as you see towards your right, we have a very basic plan of Bangkok, Koh Tao, and Bangkok again. So, what have we considered when we made this plan is that we match the traveler's interest and the constraints that we have. Now, this particular traveler was very interested in doing scuba diving, and he wanted to do it in budget. Now, the best place to do scuba diving in a budget is Koh Tao. Now, we did that, and the constraint here was budget, so we boiled it down to Koh Tao. And since Bangkok, he'll be landing and flying away from Bangkok, we kept Bangkok in the plan. You divide the cities depending on the number of days. Now, we don't want the traveler's trip to be super hectic. In order to have a very balanced experience, we divide the number of cities that he'll be going to depending on the number of days. So, if he's going for a 6 days trip, it doesn't make sense that he covers 4 to 5 places. Rather, he just stick to 2 places and cover them properly. So, we don't want the traveler to be uncomfortable and travel too much. The third thing is route and transport. This is something you need to optimize. This is where your expertise come in. And since you've already been to Thailand, I'm pretty sure that you can optimize the travel, how to go between one city to the other, what is the best way to go about it. Now, our app also would help you make all of these decisions, but I'm pretty sure that you can take that call. The third thing is the activities. Now, for this particular traveler, scuba diving is must. So, Koh Tao's plan has scuba diving in it. So that is something that you need to keep in the mind. The last thing is that day-wise planning. What all would he be doing? How his trip would look like from one day to the other. That is something that you need to consider. The last thing is that depending on how your trip went or what all things you did, you can definitely recommend what all places you should go to eat, what was your favorite restaurant. You can share all of that information with the traveler. Now we're going to be deep diving into the fundamentals. Let's just talk about first thing first, route and transport. We're going to be optimizing the sequence of travel. So we have this thing wherein we have 8 days. The traveler is going to Thailand for 8 days, and he has boiled down on Bangkok, Krabi, and Phi Phi Islands. So we have all these three places marked in the map towards the right. Now we're going to be taking three decisions here. First decision is that which city should he start in. Second decision is that which city should he keep in the middle, and the last decision is that which city should be kept in the end. Now we have Bangkok. If we start with Bangkok, we land here and stay one night here at least. Okay. Second option is that you directly go to Krabi, you directly land to Krabi, or you land in Bangkok and then fly immediately to Krabi. This is the second option. The third option is that, which seems very, very lengthy to me right here, which is that you land in Bangkok, then you fly to Krabi or Phuket, and then you take a ferry to Phi Phi. Like, this is this much of travel you're going to do in day one. It's like so much. I would not advise you to do that. So I'd rather advise you to go to Bangkok or go to Krabi. So going to Phi Phi on the first day does not make a lot of sense because there's just like too much travel involved, and if you miss one of these modes of transport, your trip is gonna get ruined. So we don't want that to happen. In this particular case, we're gonna land here in Bangkok first and then spend at least one night in Bangkok. Why did we do that? Because we applied the concepts of travel planning. Now, the budget is something that we considered. Return flights to Bangkok work out cheaper rather than going to Krabi. Second is comfort. Like, other options are more intense than this, so we kept the comfort in mind. And the third thing is that you need to know the best possible and best fit flight timing if multiple transport is involved, which was the case in Krabi. So we kept these three things into consideration when we made the decision. Now the second decision is that which city to end in. Now we have Bangkok. We can keep all the days towards the end in Bangkok, or we can split the days for Bangkok towards the start and the end. Second is that we keep Krabi in the end. We stay the last night in Krabi and travel to Bangkok for flight, or you can directly fly back home from Krabi itself. The third decision is that you keep Phi Phi in the end. So if you keep Phi Phi in the end, then you need to sort of go from Phi Phi to Krabi or Phuket and again take a flight from there to back home, or you need to go from Phi Phi to Phuket or Krabi and then to Bangkok and then fly home. Again, a lot of transport involved. This is a no-go. So in this case, going to Krabi would be the best possible option. Why? Because we considered that Phi Phi is not going to be a very good option here. Second is we kept the island in the middle. Now we always keep the island in the middle of the trip. If we keep the island towards the end, you risk missing the ferry, or you risk missing the flight. So either of these things can happen, and it doesn't make a lot of sense. So we need to have all of these three things in place when we're making this decision. Now the third decision is which stay in the middle. As I talked to you earlier, we can keep Bangkok in the middle, which doesn't make a lot of sense. We can keep Krabi in the middle of the plan. That again doesn't make a lot of sense. We can keep Phi Phi in the middle, which is a great option because the trip would be very rounded, and that way Phi Phi would be covered very properly. You would have two major cities on the either end of the trip, which will make it a very rounded thing. So a quick learning here: we always keep the island in the middle of the trip. Why? Because you keep the travel into consideration. You have a very well connected sort of rounded trip here. You have kept the comfort of the traveler in the mind, and and then that's pretty much it. Now the second thing is that day-wise planning. Now, since we've decided cities and since we know that how the traveler is going to arrange all the cities, we're going to move towards the day-wise planning. Yeah, so we have a case in mind here. The traveler has interest in nature and culture, and the budget is sort of tight. First thing is that we understand the interests and match the activities. And for this particular case, the traveler is in Phuket. So in Phuket, we have for nature following options. Karen Beach is something that the traveler can go to. Promthep Cape is something that the traveler can go to, and Katanoi Beach is something which the traveler can go to. Second thing is for culture, since he's interested in culture, Big Buddha and Phuket Fantasy are two options. Let's dig into it a little deeper. We know where all of these places are located in the map, as I just showed you guys. So starting from Phuket Fantasy to Patong to Karen, Big Buddha, and Promthip Cape. Now we all know that Patong is the major area to stay in Phuket, so most likely the traveler is staying in Patong. So this is how we do it. We need to optimize the time. We sort of boil down the kind of activities he can do to go for depending on his interest. Now we're going to optimize the time. Now we know that Karen Beach is best to be gone in early morning. You can sort of go for a swim. Big Buddha, we know that it closes by 6 p.m. and Phuket Fantasy starts by 5:30. Also, Phuket Fantasy is a very sort of expensive activity. Since this traveler is on a tight budget, I'd rather not recommend this activity. The third thing is that Promthip Cape is best visited in sunset. So I can sort of see a pattern here that from Patong, I can start my day at Karen, then sort of go to Big Buddha and end my day in Promthip. This is what is coming to my mind. I think I can skip Phuket Fantasy because the budget is tight. So yeah, so this is what we rounded up to. While selecting the places to visit in a city for the traveler, we kept in mind must-dos for the trip. We kept the interest in the mind. We kept the preferences in mind. Time required for the activity, time of the day the activity would be done, time required to reach, and how to reach. So we kept the basics of planning in mind when we made that decision. And of course, budget is very, very important. So when we did that, we sort of had this thing in mind. We have covered the route and transport. We have covered the day optimization in a city. Now we're going to be moving to recommendations. Now this is something which is very, very generic, and I'm pretty sure that you guys can take a call even without me telling this. Here we have a case. The traveler is aged 45. He's going out with friends. Hey, fun guy. And he has a moderate budget and he's partying on mine. So he's in Bangkok. There are two options here. He can either go to Khao San Road, which sort of looks like this, which is a very young place, or he can go to Lebua, which is a very nice, classy sort of place. Now, since he is aged 45, I'd rather not take him to Khao San Road. I'd rather recommend him to go to Lebua, but it is a very subjective call. You need to give the traveler both of these options to pick from. This is your duty to do because you are the one who has all the information and you are the one who can give out the best recommendations. So yeah, this is pretty much it. This was my session, guys. I hope you understood all the concepts of travel planning. And yeah, that is a wrap.